Okay, sorry.
Software development.
The software developer that doesn't know how to use the software. That's encouraging, right? Okay, so before I talk about what FEBio Studio is, I have to quickly talk about what FEBio is. Again, most of you already know this, but FEBio is a finite element solver. So it was designed for solving specifically biomechanics problems. So we took a lot of the boundary conditions, physical models, like constitutive modelings that are relevant in the biomechanics community and built this finite element tool around it. So the start of the project was in 2007, and FEBio itself is a command line interface, at least used to be. So we had some other tools that we developed over the years, kind of help create the models, analyze, visualize the results, and so forth. And so with the arrival of FEBio Studio in 2020, we basically put all these tools together in a single user interface, graphical user interface that makes it easy for users to just build the models, run the models, and analyze the models from just one application. So, so what is FEBio Studio? It's a graphical user interface for creating, running, and visualizing FEBio models, but it's also a couple other things that are important to point out. One of the things we also wanted to do with FEBio Studio is make it a repository for tools and models that people use in the community. So through FEBio Studio, you can access a lot of models that people have created over the years that use FEBio and FEBio Studio. And I don't have the ability to show you here, but you can just open FEBio Studio and just look at all the models that that users have created and that we have created and sharing with the community. So moving on. So what are we trying to do with FEBio Studio 3? So there's two main goals that we try to achieve in FEBio Studio 3. One is make modeling more programmable. And what do I mean by that? So over the years, we've noticed that a lot of people, they come to us with these very specific feature requests that are very specific for their research. And we're happy to help with them. We're always happy to add a button to do that specific type of analysis. But the problem with that is that FEBio Studio is going to grow and have a lot of these very specialized features that very few people in the community actually need. So instead of following this path, we want to basically slim FEBio Studio down a little bit and give more tools to the user to kind of customize workflows, to create scripts that allow them to do what they need to do without necessarily having to rely on us directly as developers. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. The other big thing about FEBio Studio 3 is trying to add more and more tools to the modelers and the researchers to kind of help understand their models better, how to make them run better, how to debug problems, how to solve problems. And so that's something we're thinking about too. Like, how can we add more tools in FEBio Studio to kind of help with that? So those are kind of the main two things that I want to talk about a little bit more today. So the first thing are FEBio plugins. So plugins have been around for quite a while, and they're basically a way for you to create, for instance, the new constitutive model. Like, one of the things we always knew about FEBio, it's going to be used by people who are doing the actual research, who are developing the actual, computational algorithms and whatnot. So we always wanted to make sure that people were able to implement new features themselves. And so that's done through FEBio plugins. And we want to bring more support to that in FEBio Studio 3. So what does that mean? Well, now in FEBio Studio 3, you can generate these plugins, and FEBio Studio 3 will generate a complete plugin template for you that is ready to build and run with FEBio. Of course, it won't do anything yet. You'll still have to do some coding yourself, but you'll have a head start when you're building plugins. So we also can link now to your build environment. For instance, if you use Visual Studio, it can use now Visual Studio to build from within FEBio Studio. So we have kind of a mini build environment in FEBio Studio so that you can build your plugins directly from within it. And then the plugins can already directly be loaded in FEBio Studio 3. And so that will kind of simplify the development and the use of these plugins. There's also a plugin repository that's being developed, and it's kind of a similar idea to our model repository that I mentioned earlier. So the purpose of this plugin repository is it's going to be a one-stop shop for people who want to look for what kind of plugins other researchers have developed. And so if you are a plugin developer, this is also a platform that will allow you to share your plugins with the community and make them discoverable by the community. And by the way, just as in the model repository, your plugin repository, you'll be able to link your publications to your work as well. So that might be another way for your work to become discoverable through FEBio Studio and its user base. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is our Python support. So this falls into this category of being able to write your own scripts and customize FEBio Studio for your specific needs. So we're working on two plugin interfaces. One is an embedded interpreter in FEBio Studio itself. So you'll be able to pull up an editor and write some code where you take some data and you create some models with it, or you do some meshing or some custom pipeline that you wanna do for creating your models. Like if you build a lot of similar models that are very repetitive, you can script this up and just run the script instead of doing these things step by step. And then the second Python module is an external Python module where you can just run a lot of the FEBio algorithms, FEBio Studio algorithms, from an external Python interface. So you can embed it in your pipeline or your workflow. If you want to do meshing or model creation, you can do that from this external Python module. Now, I do have to say this is all still very preliminary. It doesn't have a lot of functionality. One of the things that I hope to get is some feedback from people who want to try it or from people who have specific Python interfaces so that we kind of focus, that we know what we should focus on when we're developing this Python module. So finally, also kind of in the spirit of kind of customizing your workflow. So FEBio now has these things called FEBio apps, and these are just custom user interfaces that you create, you design through an XML file at this point. And it can run FEBio on the background. So you basically create your custom UI to your specific finite element models, and you can do anything you want with that model. You can do parametric studies. You can use that for simple presentations or demos. And it has kind of another scripting layer behind it, similar to JavaScript. But using that scripting layer, you can do also kind of custom workflows or data analysis or data extraction. Like one of the things that I know is often a bit of a problem is how do I get data out of FEBio without having to go through FEBio Studio? Well, this is one of the ways of the Python interface, and this is going to be one of the ways to kind of achieve that. How am I doing on time? Okay.
Keep a track, but
Oh, I was going to keep track until I realized I wasn't. Okay. I only have a few more slides left. So that was part one, right? So the second part is how can we help users kind of debug models as they run them in FEBio. And so there's a couple tools that we're developing for that. So one is called the FEBio monitor. So if you've used FEBio before, you know that the main output that you get was just a log file, right? Even if you run it through FEBio Studio, you just see a log file. You see, hundreds of numbers just going across your screen. And if you know what these numbers mean, you can kind of follow it along. But it's not a very good way to see, what is going on with my model. Is it going well? Is it not going well? So what we've built this FEBio monitor tool that basically allows you to run this model live from within the user interface. So now when you run this model, you'll get a live view, a live update of what is happening in the model. You can create these graphs that'll kind of show you some metric of what's happening, like the residual tolerances or the displacement tolerances, the displacement norms as they progress. You'll have a way to watch specific values. You want to know the value of this particular parameter. So it goes in very detailed, and you can keep track of everything's going on. You can pause your models when specific things happen. Like for instance, there's a negative Jacobian. Oh, I want to pause the model there to see exactly what is happening. And so this tool, I think, is going to be very helpful for kind of help people debug the model, figure out what exactly is going on, and that may give some hints of how to, how to solve the problem. And you can go into the data really granularly. Like you can even go into the stiffness matrix yourself if you want, if that's something that you want to do. And so even if the matrix is pretty big, like millions of degrees of freedom, I've tested it, it still stays responsive. I wouldn't recommend trying to go through the matrix. um, it's uh, it's been helpful. It's been helpful. Okay, so that's one of the tools. The other tool that we're working on is basically behind the scenes, keeping more track of metrics that might be relevant to users and present them afterwards in a report that brings out more of the details. Again, much of this is already in the log file, but it's presented in a more visual way that kind of help understand better what exactly is happening in your model, where is it spending a lot of time. On the left, for instance, we see graphs of the number of iterations per time step. You can see that towards the end, a lot of red is happening. So those are error terminations of time steps. So you kind of get a better idea where exactly are things going wrong, and that might give you some idea on where to look. So some other changes that I wanted to highlight. So there's a lot of improvement under the hood, a lot of things that we're trying to make it run better, make it run faster. One of the things is that has been improved significantly is the rendering engine. So people are using more and more bigger models. And the older version of FEBio Studio started to struggle with that a little bit. So now we have a much better rendering engine behind it that can handle bigger models better. We also now have a ray tracer, which you can use to create, high resolution images, better quality. So you don't have to just take screenshots of FEBio Studio anymore. You can take these high resolution images with our ray tracer. Okay, so like I said, FEBio Studio 3 is still under development, so it's not officially released yet. However, there is a way to get to it, and there's some instructions on the slide, but the best place to go is to the FEBio Studio website, to our knowledge base. There is an article there that basically says this, it gives this exact same information. So if you're interested in trying it out, please be my guest. We'd love to get some initial feedback and kind of help us decide on some directions, what are more important directions for the community. So if you want to give it a try, give it a try and let us know how it worked for you. So, and I'll stop here then. Thanks.